timing here for Memorial Day weekend. The weather will be perfect, so get out this weekend and plant some flowers.
Yeah, and a lot of people like me veer toward container gardening, so we asked Jeff Lynch from the Meijer Garden Center to come in and show us how it's done. And you have a lot of examples here. Let's start with those containers. We were talking about it at the beginning of the show a little bit. Is it pretty easy?
Container gardening is really easy, and we really have two options for you. We have pre-made containers, like this coleus here. You know, you can come in, pick it up right off the shelf, take it home. You don't have to do anything. There's an example of a petunia over here with multiple colors. But really, the fun part of it is creating your own containers.
Yeah.
Taking that pot you already have on your deck, picking out plants, and it's really not that difficult. Really, you follow a few simple steps: thrillers, fillers, spillers. Your thriller plant gives you...
Rachel's learning. This is going to be her vocabulary now. Which I really love. You know, and what I love about Meijer and the great selection is you have everything from the pots to the dirt we may need to the people on staff who have expertise to guide us through the plant selection, because it's really about making the right selection of plants to go in that perfect spot where you're going to be displaying this.
That's right, Terry.
And so walk us through it.
Well, when you're picking out a thriller, that is a plant that gives you height in the container. We've got a couple examples here. This is purple fountain grass. It's an annual grass, great purple color, gives you that height in the container. King tut grass is another one we have here. It's a proven winter grass. Great item also, kind of a unique look. That would be your thrillers.
Okay.
Your fillers are the plants that kind of give the container body. So you want something that kind of gets more of a mounding habit. Things like our super bells here come in a multitude of colors. Great filler type item. Then when you get to the spillers, those are the items that cascade. Super petunias, million bells, bacopa. A lot of great options out there for you to choose.
It is so exciting. I was telling you that I did my container garden, but I only had 2 components because I couldn't figure out a good filler to use, and the super bells would be great because I did million bells and geraniums.
Yeah, so, great combination, and you know, that would be a great option to put in there.
Well, let's take the container gardening theme and move on a little bit, because vegetables are a great way to really do that gardening. You can also do them in containers. We're actually kind of in transition with our landscaping. I don't know that I would plant a garden. I'm interested in having vegetables, so if I put it in a container, I could just transfer it once I have an area, right? It's not something I have to put off.
Yeah, Rachel, there's a lot of great choices to put in containers for vegetables. Tomatoes, probably the most common and our best seller. When you're putting tomatoes into containers, you really just want to look for one thing. Pick a variety, a determinate variety. That means it stops growing and concentrates on putting fruit on the plant rather than continuing to grow all season. It stays much smaller for you. It'll work in a small space garden.
And the nice thing too is that you get them started, especially with the hot weather we have forecast right off the bat here, that you know that your plant's going to do well, and you'll continue to have fresh produce all summer long.
All summer long.
This is the tomato plant here. This is cilantro, right?
That is cilantro. So if you're gonna put tomatoes on your patio, fresh salsa in the summer. There's nothing better than that. It'd be great to put a container of things like cilantro. We have a jalapeno pepper there. Plant those in a container right next to it. Make your own fresh salsa.
Okay, and I was asking you, just tapping your expertise, what kinds of fertilizers you'd use on these, and you carry a great selection at Meijer as well.
We certainly do. Miracle Grow is what I use personally on my garden. It's a water-soluble fertilizer, easy to apply with a hose and sprayer or mixing it in a watering can. Every 2 weeks is what we would recommend. Containers, you may want to do it a little bit more often because it tends to go out of the soil rather quickly.
Okay, so over here, another option, flower beds. We know this is going to be a really nice weekend for planting. It's a long weekend, and so you have the garden center stocked. And this is an option also. Certainly,
Rachel. We have from your traditional bedding plants like this Impatiens. This is our 10-pack of Impatiens. Right now they're on price drop for 4 for $10 within our garden center.
So now, okay, 4 flats for $10.
4 10-packs. Here.
4 10-packs.
4 10-packs.
Wow, that's great.
So a flat of 40 plants you can pick up for $40 or for $10.
For $10, it's
nice.
A great deal. Fantastic.
Those are beautiful. Lots of great colors and everything. I walk through the garden center sometime as a confession, just because it's so beautiful and to be surrounded by such great things. You were saying that you have the best variety that you probably ever carried at Meijer right now.
Yeah, our garden centers right now are looking the best that they ever have. Our selection, we've been traveling throughout the country trying to select the best and newest varieties out there. Things like wave petunias, currently on price drop, 2 for $7 in our store. These are great options. You don't have to deadhead. These are self-shedding, so the blooms fall off. What's great is they spread to like 3 feet wide, so really you
nice.
don't have to do anything, and you don't need a lot of plants to fill in a big space.
I know, I love this new variety because honestly, I love the look of a petunia, but they're a lot of work, and typically by July, they look terrible. So I love the idea of the wave petunia. They clean themselves.
They do clean themselves. And we have another great option too, sun patience. And patience, as this little flat here is, they only work in the shade.
Right.
But the flower power and the flower look is what everybody craves. Sun patience is an impatient that works great in the sun as well as the shade.
Well, it's great too. I always look at the little tags that you have in because I'm kind of learning what is good. You have to be conscious about what kind of light you're getting on your plants, if it's a sunny spot or a shady spot, and then continually watering on those really hot days that we have. Any other good tips for people? Well,
sun and shade is probably the biggest question we have asked, right? Full sun is 6+ hours of sun.
Okay.
Full shade would be 2 hours or less of sun. But we also this year incorporated QR codes. So if you have a smartphone, and you're in our store, all of our plant tags have a QR code on it. You can scan that, takes you out to a website, can answer a lot more questions for you too.
Isn't that amazing? Technology, really cool. So high tech. And these are all annuals you brought in, but I was asking you a little bit about perennials, and you do have a great selection also of perennials.
Our selection of perennials this year is outstanding. Locally grown in Hudsonville, Michigan.
Nice.
We deal with a great grower out there. The selection is really spectacular. We've got some great price points right now on hostas and delphiniums we're featuring in the stores.
Wow.
Well, this has been really helpful, Jeff. We really appreciate all this, all these examples and advice. So if you don't have anything on your holiday weekend plan,
yes,
this would be a great idea. One that would keep you'd enjoy for the rest of the summer as well.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jeff. Nice
Thanks, Gary. Thanks, Rachel.
We'll be right back.
This is 8 West.